Hello to all my friends in the National Association of Letter Carriers. I'd much rather be with you in person today, but I'm afraid we're going to have to settle for this video. I want to start with a special thank you to National President Fred Rolando for the opportunity to join you today. Thank you. You know, since we set out to fight for working families in Washington, it's helped to have great partners, and Fred has been a great partner from the very beginning. I'd also like to give a special shout out to National Business Agent John Cassiano, who represents Massachusetts, and to my friend Van Hefferman, President of the Massachusetts State Letter Carriers Association. You guys rock. I'm here today to say just one thing. The Postal Service is a critical part of our communities, and hard-working letter carriers are the key to its success. Day in and day out, you make it happen. Businesses, families, we all rely on the Postal Service. In the Senate, I'm committed to doing everything I can to be a good partner for letter carriers and the Postal Service. As we talk about reforming the U.S. Postal Service, we must focus on developing comprehensive, sensible legislation that not only modernizes and saves the Postal Service, but also makes sure that the Postal Service can compete on a fair and level playing field. You know, for too long, discussions about reform have centered on short-sighted solutions that undercut the important work of the Postal Service, like ending six-day delivery. This change would not only hurt our letter carriers, but it would hurt many families and small businesses who depend on six-day delivery. Another proposal that would move us in the wrong direction is ending door-to-door delivery by shifting to these curbside cluster boxes. That won't work in high-density urban areas, and it would also cause a lot of difficulty for vulnerable segments of our population, including the elderly or those with disabilities. So I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of the Postal Service Protection Act, which would help address the Postal Service's financial problems while ensuring that the mail continues to be delivered 6 days a week. The bill would also unwind the costly requirement that, in addition to funding retirement health benefits for current retirees, that the USPS must also put aside huge amounts of money for future retirees' health benefits. No other federal agency is subject to this requirement, and the Government Accountability Office says that it has cost the USPS $32 billion over the last 6 years. Now, I believe the Postal Service's future centers on solutions that allow the Postal Service to rely on its traditional strengths to compete and to succeed. One innovation and creative idea is to reintroduce postal banking. Postal banking would not only strengthen the Postal Service's finances, but it would also benefit many low and middle income families across the country who could count on a trusted friend, the U.S. Post Office. You know, today in the United States, more than a quarter of all American households rely, at least in part, on non-bank financial services like check cashing or payday lending. These unbanked and underbanked households pay more. They pay a lot more for the kinds of basic financial services that the rest of us take for granted. In 2012, these families paid just under 10% of their annual income on interest and fees for non-bank financial services. Think about that, more than $2,000 on non-bank financial services. That's about the same amount that they spent on food. Now, why aren't these families using their traditional banks to cash their paychecks and to pay their bills? Well, many of them have been shut out of traditional banking. Banks are rapidly abandoning lower income and rural neighborhoods, and that's where the U.S. Postal Service comes in. The USPS is the only organization with the public mission, the infrastructure, the experience, and the well-trained employees that are needed to address this problem. According to a recent report from the USPS Inspector General, the Postal Service already has the statutory authority it needs to partner with banks and credit unions to provide this basic, affordable financial service like check cashing and small dollar savings accounts at post office branches. This would be a win-win for the working families and for the U.S. Postal Service. Now, there are several steps Congress should take right now to help the Postal Service address its financial situation in a way that maintains a strong and effective postal system and that protects our letter carriers. We need a strong Postal Service in order to strengthen and grow our economy. This isn't going to be an easy fight, but I know it's one that we can win if we stand together, shoulder to shoulder. So, thanks for the opportunity to join you by video today. I hope you have a terrific convention, and I'm looking forward to our working together.